Get ready, because those old wheat pennies you've overlooked might be hiding incredible treasure. Today, we're uncovering the most rare and valuable wheat pennies that can turn a simple, worn coin into hundreds, thousands, or even million-dollar fortunes. These seemingly ordinary pennies may look old and dirty, but some contain rare mint errors and unique varieties that collectors pay jaw-dropping prices for. Because 1940 Heat Penny is one of those rare years where minting errors, doubled dies, planchet mistakes, cuds, off-center strikes, and even wrong metal coins slipped out of the U.S. Mint unnoticed, you're digging through an old wooden box. Maybe it's something your grandfather left behind. Maybe it's a dusty container you found in a shed. Maybe it's a rusty tin filled with old coins from decades ago. Most of the coins inside are dark, brown, dirty, worn, and seemingly worthless. But what if I told you that this exact coin, this little copper disc that survived World War II, the Great Depression, and 85 years of American history, could be secretly worth hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars depending on the error hiding inside it? The history of the 1940 wheat penny, a coin made in a changing world. The year was 1940. The world was on the brink of World War II. The U.S. was preparing for massive industrial expansion. Millions of Americans were still recovering from the Great Depression. People saved every penny they could. The U.S. Mint produced huge numbers of wheat pennies in 1940. But like any period of high-speed production, errors slipped through, errors that today are worth fortunes. The most valuable 1940 wheat penny errors. The 1940 double die obverse, the most wanted error, high-grade full spread doubling. $20,000 to £40,000 plus, double die reverse dramatic wheat stock doubling, strong DDR, $2,000 to $10,000. This error is less known, but extremely valuable when dramatic, off-center strikes the moneymaker. The more off-center, the more valuable, and it must show the date. 80–90% off-center, full date, $7,000 to $20,000 plus, broad strikes no rim, wide flared coin. Broad strike errors happen when the coin is struck outside the collar ring. Perfect wide broad strike, $2,000 to $4,000 plus, wrong planchet errors, huge money. This is where things get crazy. Rare metal anomaly, $100,000 to $25,000 plus. These are among the most valuable 1940 coins in existence. Double strikes, ghost images worth thousands, clear second strike, $1,500 to $4,000. Cuds and die breaks, extreme errors. These happen when part of the die breaks off. Huge, dramatic cud, $5,000 to $10,000 plus. Transitional or experimental metal errors, million-dollar class. These are extremely rare but possible. Such errors can reach backhand index pointing right, $250,000 to $1 million plus. How to identify if your 1940 penny is valuable? Strange shapes or edges, doubling anywhere, off-center strikes, missing metal, extra metal, cuds, wrong weight, unusual color, silver, gold, gray, aluminum-like, two dates, two heads, or rotated designs. Why collectors love the 1940 penny, minted during wartime tension, full of dramatic, high-value errors, affordable for casual collectors capable of producing million-dollar treasures. Today, we're diving deep into the most rare 1944 wheat pennies, the errors, the history, and the values that explode from simple pocket change into mind-blowing amounts. And trust me, when you hear the rarest one, you won't believe it's real. You're digging through an old jar of coins, brushing aside dusty pennies that look worthless, dark brown, dirty, worn, forgotten. And suddenly, one coin grabs your eye. A simple old 1944 wheat penny. You almost throw it back. But wait, that old, dirty penny might be worth far more than you can imagine. Some 1944 wheat pennies have sold for over $1 million at auction. Yes, a penny that looks like trash could actually be treasure, a life-changing jackpot hiding in the palm of your hand. The history of the 1944 wheat penny. The 1944 wheat penny was minted during an important moment in U.S. history, World War II. America needed copper for military equipment, ammunition, and wiring. That meant the U.S. Mint had to make adjustments in coin production. In 1943, the Mint struck pennies using zinc-coated steel, not copper. These are the famous 1943 steel pennies. When 1944 began, the mint returned to making pennies with shell-case brass, using recycled spent ammunition cartridges from military training fields. These ammunition shells, burned, darkened, and melted, were turned into penny planchets, giving 1944 wheat pennies their distinctive look and metal composition. Fire the valuable 1944 pennies. Regular and error types the rare 1944 steel penny, the $1 million penny. This is the king of the 1944 penny world. The Holy Grail high grade, $300,000 to $750,000. The 1944 D steel penny, also extremely rare. The Denver Mint also accidentally struck 1944 pennies on leftover steel planchets. High grade, $300,000 to $500,000. The 1944 S steel penny, the rarest of them all, any condition, $300,000 to $500,000. The 1944 copper penny, common but valuable in high grades. The standard 1944 copper penny is not rare, but pristine examples bring strong prices. MS 67 and above, $1,500 to $5,000 plus. The 1944 error pennies, big. Money errors. 1944 off-center strike error when the coin is struck off-center. Part of the design is missing 0.50% plus off-center with full date. For $100 to $1,000. 1944 double die obverse. This error shows doubling in the date, lettering, or Lincoln's face. Strong doubling. $300 to $1,000 plus. Collectors love double dies. 1944 re-punched mint marks, especially for 1944 D and 1944 S pennies. Strong RPM, $100 to $250. 1944 penny struck on foreign planchets. This is one of the wildest types. Typical foreign planchet, $1,000 to $5,000. 1944 broad strike error. The coin is expanded outward with no rim. $40 to $150. 1944 double struck penny, struck twice or struck after rotating. $150 to $1,000. 1944 clip planchet, a curved clip missing from the edge. $30 to $150. Fire how to identify a $1 million 1944 penny. Magnet test, copper. Is not magnetic, steel is magnetic. Weight test, copper 1944 penny. 3.11 grams steel 1944 penny. 2.7 grams. Use a digital scale. Color check copper pennies. Brown or reddish steel pennies. Gray or silver tone. Date check. Make sure it's clearly 1944. Mint mark check. No mint mark equals Philadelphia. All three can have steel errors. So there you have it. The most rare, old, and dirty 1944 wheat pennies. The history behind them. The errors that bring huge value. And the hidden treasures that could turn a simple penny into a life-changing fortune. If you have any 1944 pennies at home, go check them right now. Test them. Weigh them. Look closely, because one single penny could be worth hundreds, thousands, or even over $1 million. And if you want more rare penny videos, more hidden treasures, or want me to cover the rarest 1945, 1950, or 1960 pennies, just let me know below. Stay with me until the end, because the rarest 1945 penny could change everything you thought you knew about coin collecting. And yes, the most valuable one can bring six-figure or even $1 million attention when the right error is involved. You're digging through an old rusty box, a jar of dusty coins, or maybe a forgotten tin you haven't opened in years. Your fingers brush across dirty, dark brown pennies, old wheat pennies that look totally worthless. But then, you see a 1945 wheat penny. Dirty, worn, brown, maybe even damaged. You almost ignore it. History of the 1945 wheat penny. The 1945 Lincoln wheat penny marks an important moment in U.S. history. Minted just as World War II was coming to an end, these coins carry the emotional weight of wartime America. The U.S. Mint was still emerging from the wartime copper shortage. In 1943, pennies were made out of zinc-coated steel. In 1944 and 1945, the mint switched back to copper using recycled gun shell brass from war training grounds. This gives many 1945 pennies a distinct tone and texture, often darker, browner, or dirtier than normal copper coins. Over 1.4 billion pennies minted, but out of all these, Only a few have errors rare enough to bring huge value. Most rare 1945 wheat penny errors. Big money coins. The Holy Grail. 1945 wheat penny struck on a steel planchet. High grade. $75,000 to $150,000. This is the $1 million dream coin for 1945. 1945 OFF metal error. Struck on foreign planchet. Unique composition. $25,000 to $50,000. 1945 double die obverse. Strong doubling. $300 to $1,000 plus. 1945 double die reverse. Strong DDR. $500 to $900. OFF center strike. Very significantly off-center strikes range from mild to dramatic 0.50% off-center with full date showing. $400 to $4,800. 1945 broadstruck error. No raised rim. Coin looks expanded. $40 to $150. Clipped planchet Aurora chunk missing from the side. $30 to $125. Double struck / multiple. Strikes very dramatic. Rare. $150 to $800. Perfect. Dramatic examples. $1,000 plus lamination error. Perfect for old and dirty. These errors peel, crack, split, or bubble on the surface. $20 to $100 plus. How to test if you have a rare 1945 steel penny. Magnet test. Copper equals not magnetic, steel equals magnetic. Weight test. Copper penny. 3.11 G steel penny. 2.7 G color test. Copper equals brown, steel equals gray or silver. So there you have it. The most rare, old, and dirty 1945 wheat pennies, the history behind them, the huge money errors, and the incredible values these little copper coins can bring. If you want more videos like this, rare 1944, 1946, 1950, or even modern pennies worth thousands, just tell me in the comments. Some 1952 D errors are so dramatic, so unbelievably rare, that they've shocked auction houses, broken price expectations, and turned ordinary collectors into overnight legends. You're digging through an old toolbox, a dusty jar of coins, or maybe a rusted tin hidden in your grandparents' home. You pick up a handful of dirty, brown, worn-out pennies, coins everyone else ignored for decades. Most look completely worthless. History of the 1952 D wheat penny. The year was 1952. America had just come out of World War II and was entering the Cold War. Industry was booming, the mint was working non-stop, and machinery was pushed to its limits. With production so high and machinery running day and night, quality control dropped. Dies were out quickly. Misalignment increased. Planchets were mixed improperly. Mistakes were made. And not just small mistakes, gigantic, valuable, dramatic mistakes. Most rare and valuable 1952 D error pennies. These bring the real money. 1952 D struck on wrong planchet. These are the rarest of the rare, one-of-a-kind metal error. 50,000 pounds to $1,000,000 plus 1952 D double denomination error. Fire $500,000 to $1,500,000 plus is possible. 1952 D double die obverse, dramatic doubling, $1,000 to $3,000 plus. High-grade examples can be worth significantly more. 1952 D double die reverse, strong examples, $600 to $1,500. OFF center strike. The more dramatic the off-center, and the more complete the date, the higher the value. 70-90% off-center with full date. $1,500 to $3,000. Broad strike error in O-rim. Puffed out appearance. These happen when the collar fails and the planchet spreads during striking. Perfect round broad strike. $100 to $300. Clipped planchet ERRORS triple clip. $300 to $800. A dramatic clip with clean Blakesley effect brings high premiums. Lamination errors. These are caused by impurities in the metal during the post-war copper supply issues. Full field lamination. $200 to $400. P-die cracks. CUDS and breaks. Large rim crack. $40 to $80. White medium star. Why collectors love the 1952 D penny. 1952 D checks all the boxes. Nearly 75 years old. Post-war industrial era. Tons of dramatic errors. Huge collector demand. Denver Mint produced unpredictable mistakes. Collectors always chase dramatic Denver Mint errors. The next life-changing treasure could be sitting in your house right now, and you might be the person who finds the next legendary 1952 D error. But what if I told you that this exact old and dirty 1953 D Lincoln wheat penny could secretly be worth hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, and in the case of certain ultra-rare mint errors, even hundreds of thousands, and theoretically even pushing into the million-dollar category if a unique discovery is ever found? Picture this. You're flipping through a jar of old coins, dusty, dark brown, maybe even green with age. Your fingers land on a plain, ordinary, worn-down 1953 penny. It looks completely worthless, right? Just 1 cent. A tiny coin from a time long gone. This old penny that people often throw away, ignore, or leave forgotten in drawers has shocked collectors with massive auction results, crazy error discoveries, and unbelievable minting mistakes that only appear on a handful of surviving coins, or sometimes on just one coin in the entire world. The history of the 1953 D wheat penny. The 1953 D wheat penny was minted at the Denver Mint, one of the most productive mint facilities in the United States. This was the post-World War II era, a time of booming industry, growing families, and massive coin production. This is especially true for the 1953 D because Denver was known for striking fast and hard. They used dies until they were worn out. They often had issues with die clashes, cracks, breaks, and misalignments. High-speed production caused multiple types of dramatic mint errors. That's where the big money comes in. $1,000,000 plus for a theoretical unique discovery like a double denomination, bronze planchet, wrong metal strike, or extreme die collapse. These numbers are very real. Other wheat pennies have already sold for these value. Now let's dive into the most rare and valuable 1953 D wheat penny errors that can turn pocket change into life-changing money. The most rare and valuable 1953 D wheat penny errors. 1953 DDDO. The double die oversee new discovery or extremely dramatic strike. $50,000 to pound 100,000 plus. A previously unknown dramatic 1953 DDDO could absolutely break 6 figures. 1953 DDDR double die reverse. Exceptionally bold example. $30,000 to $50,000 plus. Finding a strong DDR is extremely rare and highly valuable. OFF center strikes huge money when the date shows. Off-center pennies from the 1950s bring great prices. Full dramatic off-center with full date, $30,000. Broad strikes. NO rim, wide surface, high value. If the coin looks like it has expanded like a pancake, you have a broad strike. Extreme broad strike. $1,000 to $2,500. Clipped planchets. One of the most common money errors. These are beautiful and easy to identify. Triple clip. $1,500 to $3,000. Die cracks and die breaks. The CUD errors. These are among the most dramatic wheat penny errors. Massive CUD covering a large portion. $2,000 to $10,000 plus. Wrong planchet strikes. A one-of-a-kind discovery. $500,000. These are the kinds of coins that show up only once in a lifetime. But the 1953 D wheat penny hides some of the most exciting and valuable error types in the entire wheat cent series. But coins from 1955 have produced some of the most jaw-dropping mistakes, the most famous doubling errors, and some of the biggest auction results the coin world has ever seen. Imagine this. You're digging through a box of old coins, dusty, dark brown, maybe even coated with 70 years of dirt, grime, and oxidation. You find a 1955 wheat penny. It looks terrible, worn, faded, scratched. Something most people would toss back into the jar. What if that ugly little coin could be worth hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars? What if, under the right conditions, it could even push into the million-dollar category for a unique, never-before-seen mint error? History of the 1955 wheat penny. The 1955 wheat penny was produced during the booming post-war economy. America was growing, factories were exploding with production, and the U.S. Mint was pumping out coins at full speed. Even though Denver made over 500 million pennies, The year 1955 is most famous because of something incredibly rare. The 1950s were a high-speed production era. Dies broke, shifted, cracked, clashed, misaligned, and collided. And because quality checks were not as strict as today, many incredible errors escaped the mint. The most rare and valuable 1955 wheat penny errors. The famous 1955 double die obverse. Some experts believe a perfect MS 67 or MS 68 example could hit $500,000 or even $1 million plus. 1955 DDO, minor double dies, strong minor DDOs, $800 to $2,000. 1955 DDR, double die reverse, major doubling, $5,000 to $10, 000 plus. OFF center strikes, huge money with full date. Off-center pennies from 1955 are excellent sellers, extreme with full date, $30,000 to $50, 000 plus. Broad strike errors. These happen when the collar fails and the coin spreads outward. Extreme broad strike, $1,000 to $3, 000. Clipped planchet errors. 1955 is one of the most active years for clips triple clip. $1,500 to $3, 000. P-die cracks, CUDS and BRS. These can be dramatic and highly collectible. Major cud covering design, $1,500 to $5,000 plus. Wrong planchet strikes. The $1 million possibilities, a one-of-a-kind unknown error, $300,000. How to check if your 1955 penny is rare. The date. Look for doubling. Edges for misstrikes. Wait for wrong planchets. Shape for off-centers and broad strikes. Take clear pictures and compare to known varieties. Fire conclusion. Your old 1955 penny could be worth a fortune. The 1955 wheat penny is one of the greatest treasure hunt coins in U.S. history. But the right 1955 penny can be worth hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even $1 million or more if a unique error is discovered. And today, we're diving deep into the world of the 1957 D-wheat penny, a coin that ordinary people overlook, but smart collectors know can be a jackpot hiding in plain sight. Ladies and gentlemen, coin hunters, treasure seekers, and collectors around the world, get ready, because today's episode may change the way you look at the humble penny forever. Imagine this. You're sorting through an old jar of coins, dust everywhere, coins dark, dirty, forgotten for decades, and suddenly your fingers stop. You hold a 1957 D-wheat penny, ordinary to most people, but hiding secrets that could transform a simple 1-cent coin into a treasure worth hundreds, thousands, and in extremely rare, almost mythical cases, even hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, depending on the error, rarity, and grade. History of the 1957 D-wheat penny. The 1957 D. Lincoln wheat penny is one of the final issues in America's beloved wheat cent series, minted from 1909 to 1958. The D mint mark represents the Denver Mint, which produced an enormous 1,051,342,000 wheat pennies in 1957. Yes, over a billion. The wheat cent was America's longest-running circulating coin design. Introduced in 1909 to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, it replaced the Indian head cent and brought a modern, realistic portrait to U.S. coinage. Collectors care about rarity, error type, and strike quality, not whether the coin is shiny when found. Many rare errors circulated for decades before someone spotted them. If it's a unique, spectacular mint error, like the legendary 1943 bronze penny or a broad strike double die combination, then we're talking 6 figures, possibly even 7 figures, depending on the discovery, the grading, and market demand. The most rare and valuable 1957 D errors. 1957 D double die obverse, worth $500 to $25, 000 plus. Most doubling on 1957 D pennies is minor, but if an extreme variety is ever discovered, it could be a headline-making numismatic event worth tens of thousands or more. 1957 D double die reverse, worth $300 to $15, 000 plus. An extremely strong DDR could easily be a 5-figure treasure. 1957 D repunched mint marks worth $50 to $800, not worth millions. but important for collectors and sometimes worth hundreds. 1957. D broad strikes, OFF center strikes, and misalignments, worth $100 to $3,000. These occur when the coin isn't properly positioned inside the coining chamber. 1957. D clipped planchets, worth $50 to $1,200. High-grade dramatic examples reach four-figure prices. 1957. D struck through errors, worth $100 to $4,000. A dramatic struck through debris with heavy texture could be worth thousands. How to identify a valuable 1957 D coin? Check the mint mark first. Look at the D very carefully for doubling, overlapping shapes, or alignment issues. Examine the date. The number 1957 is the first place DDO varieties show up. Look at the wheat stalk. Strong DDRs show thick lines, doubled lettering, and distorted grain details. Your change jar, your grandfather's old cigar box, a forgotten drawer in an old desk. Any of these places could hide a coin capable of changing your life.